Kayvar, after a request to Darcy to teleport you to your old school, you're looking for information on a subject that has really occupied your mind recently. With the sort of oddness around the disappearance of Aurelia, the subject of dragons seems to be coming up more and more. As you step through the portal, you see the school grounds. They're well manicured and at first seem like any other college. But as you glance around, you see the well manicured magical flower beds that seem to have herbs from across the continent growing in haphazard patches. There's a tree that at first you think is one that bears the fruit of apples, but as you get closer, each apple has a face and will tell you either jokes or rude comments if you bother them.
Oh, not the hazing apples again.
Oh, and they have, for sure, plagued you many a time. Glancing up at the building, it is elven architecture with swirls and beautiful, graceful columns. There's no hard angles on this building. It all seems to flow together like water. The door itself is made of silver and has filigree embedded into it. As you glance around, there are students going to and from class. There's a few teachers that you recognize on the outside who haven't always been kind to you, as this is an elven college, and you are not entirely elven. Where would you like to go from here?
Okay, we're back in the old stomping grounds. I think I should probably try to keep a bit of a lowest profile and try to get to the library.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a stealth check.
Nat 1.
As you are walking to where you know the library is, you turn the corner expecting no one to be there, but you crash directly into a teacher who has had nothing but disdain for you the entire time that you attended the college. You know her to be Professor Coolpetal. She has graying hair and her features are always schooled into a stern expression. She looks you up and down and it's as if her face has swallowed a lemon as disgust reigns supreme.
Oh. Miss Seaborn, I see you have decided to grace these halls once more. Is there something you forgot? Something I could give to you to make you leave sooner?
No, I was just, looking around.
Skulking about as usual.
Not that usually. I just needed to look. I just found a weird topic that's come up a lot. I just wanted to investigate it and just not bother anyone.
Oh, and I'm sure you'll forget to cite your sources again.
Just one time. When miss a reference one time.
One time is enough. You know elves have perfect memories. I will never forget this as long as you and I are alive, Seaborn.
So, like, a week?
She roll an intimidation check?
19!
Well, I never. See that you carry on, Seaborn, and keep your nose clean or your aunt will hear about this.
Fine. I just kind of slide off.
She puts her nose in the air and carries on down the hall, and you hear that sharp click of her heels fade into the distance. You see the big doors to the library. They're made of a light wood, and once again there's this silver filigree that has a very ornamental, sort of vine plant-like pattern. The doors are currently closed, and you do hear the murmur of voices beyond. It seems to be a study hall for students, most likely. This tends to be an area where more students converge to. You do know of another library where the teachers mostly go to.
What I'm after is probably teachers. Probably be more likely to be in the teachers' library. But I don't get on with them. I better just check the student library first,
Okay.
since I'm already here.
You push open the door and see a group of students immediately, and one of them you recognize. And once again, discomfort seems to permeate the air as you see your brother Volwyn glance up and then immediately cover his face so that you can't see him and look away.
Who's Bolwyn with?
Seems to be just a group of his peers. You don't know any of them. They all seem to be Volwyn's age, and they're currently studying, from what you can see, maybe economics.
Okay, in that case, I'm just gonna wave to him and then carry on.
He rolls his eyes and tries to avoid your stare. So looking for dragon information, go ahead and roll an investigation check.
Ooh, 20.
Okay. So you find a section dedicated to legendary magical creatures. As you glance over, the information seems incredibly sparse. You open a book and it kind of tells you a lot of things that you already know. Dragons are great magical beasts. They have scales that glitter. They come in different colors. They are incredibly rare to see. And as you're kind of looking through this, you feel a little disappointed. This is common knowledge that almost doesn't need to be written down in a book. But you hear it at your elbow. Are you interested in that subject? And as you turn and look, you see a goofy-looking elven man who has glasses on that are so thick and so big, it gives his eyes like they're comically too big for his face. He has kind of a large hook nose and a mouth that's almost a little too small. His ears are a little too big for his face, and he's wearing a very oversized knit sweater with sort of tweed pants. And one of the knees of the pants seems to have a big patch over it, and one of the legs of the pants seems to be a little shorter than the other. And he just looks at you and says, I actually quite enjoy reading about these sort of creatures. Are you a fellow enthusiast?
Well, potentially. Just, they've been coming up quite a lot in my line of work. I was hoping to try and find out more about them. You know, what makes them tick?
You're coming
What makes
across
dragons
a lot of
dragony?
dragons. Fascinating. Dragons haven't really been seen in the skies in several decades. Come, you must come. We must speak about this subject at great length. And he kind of urges you to follow him.
Just put the book back and follow the weird elf.
I'm Professor Tretrial, but most people just call me Goggle. I love magical creatures of all shapes and sizes. Perhaps my obsession runs a little too deeply. I can't get any of my colleagues to talk about this at length, so I'm quite incredibly excited when I saw you go for that section. And he leads you back. Go ahead and roll a perception check.
14.
This section of the school is very old, and it's not really as well maintained as the rest. Where the main part of the school is this white marble, it's bright, it's magical, it's elven. He kind of leads you down a darker hallway where that white marble sort of gives way to a dark stone, and the halls become a little less lit, it becomes a little mustier, and you start to feel the feeling of very old magic in the air. This seems to be the old wing of the school.
Your department must be quite old, Professor Tutorial.
Tretriol. It's Tretriol. You
Tretriol?
could just call me Goggles. It's fine.
Okay, Goggle. I'm Kayvar. You can just call me Kay.
Okay, Kay. Wonderful. Yes, they tend to put professors who are unorthodox in this section where we can't bother, the hoity-toity elven professors that they like to tote about in this school. But I think that I keep fine company with me and the rats.
Did you say the rats?
Oh, yes. Oh, we speak at great length. Would you like to meet them?
You know what? Sure, why not?
So
I assume he's introducing me to his familiars.
No. He picks up a rat that scuttles across the floor, and he holds it up to you. This is not a familiar. This is a straight-up rat. Here we go. This is Kevin.
Nice to meet you, Kevin. I shake the rat's front paw.
You hear the rat go squeak, 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 squeak. Oh, yes, Kevin. Yes, they are quite nice, aren't they? Kevin likes you. He puts the rat down and it scuttles away. Kevin's almost got his degree in astrophysics. We're all very proud. Anyway, come along. My office is back here.
Yeah, just keep following him. Try not to touch anything.
It is getting a little bit more dank. It's less feels like a school now and more of a repurposed dungeon. In fact, you kind of think that you see a place where chains and manacles might have been hung at one point. It kind of has a very suspicious outline in the damp mildew. The last thing that you see is a frame that seems to have a painting in it where the face has been burned out. And it hangs at a haphazard angle as if something has struck this. Beyond that is this candlelit room that is stacked to the ceiling with various papers and books. It's a little cramped to squeeze in, but there seems to be two comfortable mismatched chairs. And Professor Goggle, he waves you in and says, Come. Do you like coffee? Or are you a hot cocoa fan?
Oh, very, very much into coffee. Before I start, whose portrait was that outside?
Oh. That was... Well, I've read it several times. It just says that, let me see here. It is Aurelius Romer Thalati Coyle. I think he used to be a professor here. Not anymore. No one's seen him for 30 years. Well,
Okay,
not in the school anymore.
Trying hard not to react to that surname.
Yes, but anyway, I don't know too much about them. We didn't interact when they did work here, and I tend to keep to myself, as you can tell. But their office used to be across the way.
I've met a Coyle. Maybe he's like a relative.
Oh, I didn't realize that there were elven professors outside of the college.
Well, I say relative. He just has the same surname. It's not really an elf.
It's probably just a coincidence then.
Yeah, probably.
So, and he sits down, and as he does, this plume of dust kind of erupts from the chair. Dragons, what do you want to know?
Well, ideally, I want to know what do normal interactions with dragons? How do they go? I know they have like sigils, which suggests they have a pretty functioning society with a hierarchy, but I don't know how trade with them works. Like, do they, like if someone was to go visit or move in for a dragon, would that be as like a meal, or would it be like an ambassadorship?
He grabs your hands and gets a little too close to you and says, I am so glad you asked, because you see, that's quite fascinating. There is so much contradiction when it comes to dragon society. And in fact, here, let me find this book. And he starts pawing through the different piles. An entire tower of books falls over with a clatter. And finally, he pulls out 2 books, and he shoves them into your hands and starts flipping through the pages as you're kind of holding them up for him awkwardly. Here it is, here it is, here it is. So, in this modern book that I have, it says that there's only 3 colors of dragons. Red, gold, and black. But, that's where the fascinating thing comes in. Look here. And he switches it so this very old book is on top, and it almost feels like there's magic preserving it. And he flips through and he holds it up and he says, look, there's all sorts of colors of dragons. White, green, there's fairy dragons. Look at all these dragons. So why do we only have books modern that have those 3 colors? But to answer your question, I don't know. Because the old books say that dragons, when they come of age, they almost go through a metamorphosis. And during that sort of time, they pick their mate. They mate for life. I don't believe they accept any visitors, but they will tolerate their clan. In both books, dragons seem to be extremely territorial. But in the modern books, it simply says that dragons just hoard gold and they kidnap maidens, and it doesn't seem like such intelligent creatures would be like that. So I don't know. I don't know why the modern literature is just so different from this ancient text. Have you any thoughts from your studies? And he steeples his fingers in front of his face and looks at you with extreme interest.
You said they metamorphosed, right? What did they look like before that then?
The mystery, even the old tombs don't go into it. Supposedly dragons are very secretive about their young. It's even thought that they can sometimes hide them in plain sight. I wonder if that means some sort of invisibility or camouflage.
Oh, it might mean something similar to a cuckoo.
A cuckoo?
Yes, it's a type of bird. It hides its young in the nest of other birds for them to be raised.
Oh. That would make a lot of sense. But where could you hide a dragon in a nest of kobolds?
I mean, it's probably not just kobolds. Maybe they have some way of looking like other, people.
Now that is a fascinating theory.
And he starts writing down this information in his journal. And you see there are tons of these journals piled around, and a majority of them seem to be about magical creatures.
So if they look like people, how would we even know who was a dragon and wasn't?
I don't know. I guess when they get old enough to metamorphose.
Your theory is fascinating. I love it. And he's writing down even more. Kayvar, Seaborn, let me credit you in my paper.
Ooh, yes, get my good side.
You do see that he's writing down your name and information.
Do you have any titles?
No. No, I didn't get any titles.
Well, you should
Sadly.
get one.
All right, all right. Yes,
Fascinating. I wish we could identify these dragons. Well, since you're on the subject, why do you think that these two books are so different? You believe that modern dragons just... the past colors died out?
Well, I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the dragons themselves wanted to hide their nature. Like
It's
if they're as
so
secretive as the
well.
early books suggest.
It's so well they just became people.
Yes, like secret people leading us all. Oh no, Kayvar's becoming a reptilian trooper.
Would you like to wear my magic hat? And he hands you a tinfoil hat. Keeps the thoughts clear of influence.
No, I think I'll be fine. My hair's pretty silver. It should just work.
I don't know if that's quite the thing. You see, it's said that the soul of a dragon never dies. That they are just reborn with their memories again and again and again. So they would never forget that they were dragons.
Interesting. So, they mate for life. Do they like remate for life with the same person, or it probably doesn't say in the book, does it?
It does not.
Right.
But it's said that human souls and humanoid souls, I mean elven souls themselves, are reincarnated, so perhaps they just go and find their mate again.
Yeah,
Or maybe
okay.
it's only mating for the life of the creature, or maybe it gives that creature some sort of immortality.
It could do.
As long as the dragon lives, the mate lives. It's hard to say. There's no good information here.
Well, Goggle, you've been very helpful. I think I have a bit of a treat you're gonna like.
Oh, delightful. What is it?
I'm gonna pull out one of the gold dragon scales I have.
His eyes are like big dinner plates as he says, "Is that what I think it is?"
Yes, it's a gold dragon scale.
Oh, may I measure it? I must document this.
Yes, you can have. You can. I put it on I put it on the little coffee table. You can have a bit of measurement for it. It will help your book.
He snatches it up and you see him make careful tracings of it. He documents the measurements. You see him put it in a glass and measure the volume of the scale. Like, he completely documents all of the dimensions of this scale. And he turns to you and says, "Where on earth did you get such a specimen?"
And it's the weirdest thing. We found it on one of the other lunas. It was disguised to look like a green scale.
A green scale? If it were green, it would look like a mermaid scale. But it makes sense if someone was trying to hide it. Interesting, fascinating things. And he begins to write down more and more. Oh! Help me find the book that has the dragon with the big open mouth on it.
Okay, I'll start looking through the big stacks of books.
Roll an investigation check.
11.
11. It takes you quite a bit of time, and you hear Goggle basically chattering this entire time about his theories about dragons, and it starts to get a little wild, like maybe they're the cousins of ribbons, and you kind of tune it out after a moment, but then you find the book that he's looking for.
Is this it, Goggle?
Oh, yes, and he snatches it from you. Look. And he shows you on the page. It says, This is a dragon's heart scale. It's supposed to be given to their true love. Basically, the thing that they want to mate for life with.
But occasionally it's passed on to their children if the dragon perishes or if the dragon's mate perishes.
Oh, how tragic.
It's supposed to keep them safe. I need to study the magical properties of these, but you almost never see them. I've only seen them referenced in this book here.
This particular book is quite old. It's ancient like the other.
At least older than 30 years ago.
Yeah, you'd think that this book is probably 1,000 years old.
Well, that's interesting. And flattering.
Were you given this by a dragon? Are you a dragon's mate?
No. At least I don't think so.
And he's just like staring at you.
Are you sure?
Maybe 30% sure now?
Well, perhaps this isn't entirely accurate. Maybe, if you're not entirely sure, it was given to you to protect you.
Yeah, that seems more likely. But where I found it, this seems the previous owner was more interested in, someone else.
Did they perhaps give it to you to give to someone else?
No, this one was to keep.
Fascinating. Well, I don't know what to say because I have no context for this relationship or anything like that. I mean, if they gave it to you and they weren't a dragon,
it's a personal matter.
If they gave it to you and they weren't a dragon, then the dragon who gave it to them, I guess then their attentions are now on you?
Maybe they knew a dragon who gave it to them, told them it was for protection, that's why they gave it to me?
A viable theory.
Anyway.
Yes, anyway.
Can I have that badge?
He looks down at it and looks up at you with these big puppy eyes, and he goes,
"Well, I can't hold on to this premium specimen, of course. Just a few more seconds."
So, a few more seconds, that's fine.
He puts a piece of paper over it, and he makes a kind of charcoal imprint, and then hands the scale back to you sadly.
"I guess this is the best I'll get. At least I can see these fine lines and the striations in the actual scale. They're beautiful."
Oh yes, they're very pretty. But it's the absence of other colours that seems very interesting.
Yes, Why would the past make up these things? And what is incredibly odd is we just don't have evidence that they ever existed. With the gold dragons and the red dragons and the black dragons, we have the skeletons, we have scales, there's evidence that they lived in this world. But with those other colors, aside from these few books that I have here, I've never read anything that even remotely covered these other dragons. And I will say that these books, I guess, are rather special, as they seem to have some sort of charm of indestructibility on them.
Well, that suggests whoever made them really didn't want the information to get lost at all.
Yes, I particularly love this subject, and I am so happy that the information about them wasn't destroyed, but as far as important information to preserve through the ages, dragon colors doesn't seem to be important.
Yeah, maybe it's not the color itself. Maybe it's that there used to be more.
You think it might be a message?
Yes, maybe maybe there's some weird threat to dragons.
Hmm. Well, you know what? I've read this book back to front, and I could recite every single bit of information. You seem to know a lot about dragons, and are keenly interested. I will entrust this book to you.
Oh, thank you, Gorgle.
Okay, it's been such a delight to finally be able to talk at length about a subject of which I am quite the expert. The rest of the professors really look down upon me, because I just study these magical creatures and have these wild theories about where they may have gone.
Yeah, they don't like me very much either.
On account of your lineage, no doubt.
Yeah.
I have seen many an elf fail at being an elf. And I wouldn't say that someone's merit has anything to do with what sort of mother and father they may have come from. So if you ever feel as though others are looking down on you, you should lift your chin up and look up at them and tell them to bugger off. And if you ever run into trouble here, you tell them Professor Goggle said it was fine.
I wish I'd met you when I was a student here, Gorgle.
Well, did you take the magical menagerie class?
No, I didn't. I didn't see it.
Your loss.
I assume it was printed on the back page in very, very small font.
It was not even in most of the coursework. Although you were pushed towards Magical Menagerie at one point, you felt it was probably insulting that they were, because nobody ever is forced to take that class.
I really regretted not taking it now.
Do you want to
Sounds
see
like
another curiosity? I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Oh, no, go ahead. Tell me more.
There is this one bit that I haven't worked out for myself. And you're a bright lass. Come here.
And he flips to a certain page, and you see this illustrated page that has all these different colors of dragons. It's got a dragon that's light blue with these delicate fairy wings. It's got copper dragons coming up from the water, gold dragons, black dragons, red dragons, the entire rainbow of dragons kind of crawling up this page. And they all seem to be angling towards the sky, where these big sets of eyes are kind of peering over everything. And under it, it says, "The Servants of Magos."
I haven't really worked
Magos.
this bit out. There's no record of who or what this force Magos might be. I thought at first it might be a draconic word, but all the lexicons that I looked up had no such phrase. And in the modern books, dragons are the servants of no one.
Maybe some former, I don't know, Dragon King?
Dragon King? Fascinating. I don't think I've ever read of such a thing. What power do you think they would have?
Well, okay. Let's assume there is a Dragon King, or some kind of over-dragon. They would probably have some power that would let them command other dragons. Maybe that's why the other ones died out. Maybe they rebelled or something.
Oh, yeah. If they rebelled and died out, wouldn't they just be reborn?
Yeah, good point. Maybe it's something else then.
Plus, we'd have their bodies, we'd have their scales, we'd have a battlefield for which we could set up an archaeological dig.
Yeah, fun coincidence, the coil I know speak into archaeology.
Really? The coil that worked here was also very obsessed with archaeology. Always wanted to go to the ancient dig sites.
Huh.
What a happy coincidence.
Really weird coincidence.
Most of the dig
Glancing at the door to
sites.
Coital's office.
Most of the dig sites tend to be off limits, or they're just not accessible, and we're sure many haven't been found. But they were very keen on finding. In fact, I think they had found one that was quite rare, and yes, they went on an expedition and never returned.
Oh no.
I have heard they have been spotted around in a couple cities, but we were never friends, so I didn't really think it necessary to check up on them.
Hmm. Well, maybe the Coil I know got adopted by him or something.
Oh, you think he quit the professor's life to become a family man?
Yeah, maybe.
How charming. I do hope that's the end of his story. There is... You know, if there was going to be a place where vicious dragon battle took place, there is one area we haven't been able to access on this continent. It's a place called Shadowvane Chasm.
Shadowvane Chasm.
Yes. It's this large canyon that kind of spans from, do you know where the Renegade Inlet is?
I'm sure I could find it if you pointed it out on a map.
Yes,
I am having to... Like, I know what that is now, but I wouldn't at the time.
Yes, next to the Three Sisters River, and then, kind of, where it meets the rolling sea, the Shadowvane Chasm basically rips through, the peninsula. We can cross over using bridges and things like that, but the fog below seems to be almost impenetrable. Anyone who has gone down there has not returned, so we no longer can study it as we cannot get into it. So, if there was going to be a giant dragon graveyard, I suppose, that would be where I would think it would hide.
If they are secretive, maybe they enchanted it so no one could get in.
Oh, what a thought. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because we attempted to test the fog by lowering squirrels into it. But when we retrieved the squirrels back up, they were just gone. Our loops of rope were just empty. Not even bones nor fur remained.
Okay, well that's worrying.
Yes, that's why we stopped investigating.
There
are a lot of squirrels, but not a lot of elven archaeologists.
Yeah, you're gonna run out of squirrels eventually.
That we did. But, yes. So, that's where I would think that something interesting has to be dwelling.
Well, if on the off chance I'm ever in the area, I'll take a look.
Don't go too deeply. And if you do and manage to get back, let me know how the squirrels are doing.
I will. I'm sure the squirrels were just taken by some squirrel society so they wouldn't reveal the secrets.
I'm sure. Sure, sentient squirrels, that's not at all terrifying.
What secrets would they know?
They would know all. Squirrels are always watching with their beady squirrel eyes.
Yes. Maybe they're in league with the missing dragon colors.
A dragon squirrel society? He just stares off into the distance with like 1,000-yard stare.
The squirrels and the dragons are in league with each other.
How terrible.
I'm sure that's not at all what
Yes,
what it is. But it might not even be a dragon graveyard. Maybe it's
yeah, it might
I
be
don't know,
some other thing.
Some other thing, yes. I wouldn't. I would put it out of your mind. I mean, you have the book now, and
Yeah.
maybe you'll find something that I missed.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll find some. Maybe I'll find some strange event that makes this all make perfect sense.
Oh, I should hope so, but this isn't a bard's tale. You've got to do a bit of the legwork, I think, to discover anything in this world.
Yes, if I work out anything, I'll send you a letter, Gorgle.
You can send me a letter even if you haven't worked anything out. I am quite the knowledge on all sorts of magical creatures, and lesser so on sort of astral physics, alternate dimensions, that sort of thing.
Actually, speaking of magical creatures, what do you know about Emavirs?
Emavirs, they technically don't quite fall into my jurisdiction, but they are quite the peculiarity. So, it seems to be that more and more they are appearing and sort of clutching together. It's almost as if they cling to one another, even if they haven't quite died in the same area. If you have one Emavir, more seem to crop up in that area. It's sort of like a magnet in metal particles.
Hmm.
We didn't see practically anything until, what was it, about 30 years ago, so they're kind of a new occurrence.
It's to go more into the olden ones, not the newer ones.
Well, I prefer things that have literature written on them, and I haven't come across any ancient text that mentions them.
Yeah, that makes sense. I never heard much about them when I was at school here either.
Yes, they are recent. It is new. It is something that has just kind of cropped up. Yet, I don't know. I've always thought they had a sense of foreboding about them. You know, like a warning, like rats fleeing off of a sinking ship, sort of thing. And you see Kevin
looking at
wander
Kevin.
in.
He seems to have a piece of parchment clutched in his teeth along with a quill.
Oh, he really is a student.
Yes, this is quite good. I turn in his homework for him. That way people don't know he's a rat, but he's actually on the honor roll.
Ooh, very impressive, Kevin.
See, you fear the squirrels, but I fear the rats.
We need to make sure the two never meet.
What a rodent society would crop up. The end of days. We would be under lock and paw.
Forced into the acorn mines.
Oh no. You just see Kevin sit up. Squeak, 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 squeak. No, Kevin, you are not allowed to be emperor. Go back to your homework. You see him go to this corner, and there's a tiny little desk set up.
It gets a little boring around here.
Yes, I've gathered you do seem kind of locked away down here.
Yes, I don't know why more people don't take my magical menagerie course. I have a lot to teach, but unfortunately every semester the docket is empty. They always tell me I have to keep working on the astral physics and the breakthroughs surrounding that, and I just don't really care for that.
Or maybe if you gave it like a punchy astrophysics.
Well, I don't want to teach astrophysics. I want to teach about magical creatures.
Or maybe if you gave it like a more exciting name.
What's more exciting than magical menagerie?
I don't know, majestic beasts and where to find them.
Well, Well, I guess I'll retitle it this year, and we'll see if somebody actually signs up. How's the coffee?
It's a very, very nice. I take a big sip.
It is very bitter. It is straight
Slamming.
black coffee that has been, it's very, very, very strong.
Smooth.
Yes, I don't really like to trance all that much. That'll keep you up for a good 2 days.
Good.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
I can
get
feel
all
it.
your good thinking done on the second day. Freeze your mind.
I'm starting to see why the rats are doing his astro work.
Yes, Kevin won't touch the stuff, but that's fine. He prefers to sleep regularly. And as long as he's a student, that's fine. But he really needs to step up if he's going to be a professor.
What's your doctorate going to be in, Kevin?
Oh, he says that he wants to see the effect that the astral plane has on the human body and how much stress it can really take.
And I'd imagine probably not that much.
Oh, he says that with certain techniques that you can endure almost anything. He's looking for experiments if you would like to be a part of his doctorate in a few years.
That makes sense. It's good to start working on those early.
Oh, he's very ambitious, Kevin. In fact, you could write letters to Kevin as well.
What languages does Kevin speak?
He could use a friend. He's very lonely.
Okay, I will write Kevin letters. Kevin, do you speak Common? Or read and write it?
You see him take this little quill in his paws and write, and then you see in Elvish it says, I speak Elvish, Common, and Draconic.
Oh, wait. Oh, you speak Draconic. Huh. Okay, well, I might have to write to Kevin for some translations then.
Oh, yes, he does all my translating work for me.
Okay, well, Kevin, it's been lovely to meet you. Just shake his paw again.
He shakes yours.
And it's been very, very nice to meet you too, Doggle. You've been very, very illuminating.
He grabs your hand in both of his and vigorously shakes it.
If you see Coyle's father, you let him know that we all miss him here at the university.
Sure, I will. Do you mind if I take a quick look in his office just to check if he is like his dad? Maybe they've got like a picture together or something.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and he
pushes aside these moldy sandwiches and like these discarded papers, and an entire full inkwell falls on the floor and splashes there, and he finally draws a big iron key and gives it to you.
There you go. You'll need that. We locked it up when he didn't return.
Yeah, you didn't just sell this stuff off.
Well, nobody really comes down here, and I don't want to be bothered.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, I'll take a look and then give you this key back.
You could just keep it. I have no reason to go in there. But
Alright,
if you
then
find Professor Coyle, then he'll probably want access to his things if he ever comes back.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll just keep hold of it then.
Just don't forget to lock up. I don't want any students wandering in there.
That's a good call. God knows what Kevin could get up to with all that.
That's true. We need to keep his intellect at bay for as long as possible to avoid the Squirrel Alliance.
Yes.
So as
Yes,
you kind of wander across the hall, you do see that painting that has been destroyed, and it looks to be burned. You pop the key into the lock, and it opens with a click. As you push it open, there's no light inside. It's a dark room. It doesn't have any candles going. And as far as you can tell, there is a thick scent of disuse. It's musty, there's dust, there's a little bit of mildew. You can smell the rancid scent of old rotted herbs.
Ooh, yeah, no one has been in here in a long time. I look around, are there like any candles?
Doesn't appear to be.
I guess I'll just go back to the hallway and just grab a torch.
Oh, no, we don't have fire near the books here. And he puts his hand on the books that you were holding, and he casts the light cantrip, and you have an illumination now.
Oh, thank you, Goyle.
You were a student here. You know there's no flames near any sort of book.
Yeah, sorry, just slipped my mind.
You're always a student here, and I will give you detention.
Yeah, sorry, sir.
And he skitters back into his office to kind of go over the notes that you told him about dragons and admire the scale rubbing that you allowed him to take.
Okay, I guess I'll use the book as a torch.
You hold up this very old tomb, and as you look around, this office is, for the most part, organized. It's not as dirty and cluttered as the other professor's office, but it does kind of have a haphazard system of organization to it, but there is some sort of organization. There are papers piled high on the desk, but they're all neatly stacked. There's all sorts of beakers of mismatched shapes and sizes on a table, however, they are all in a rack. So whoever this was has kind of a little bit of care to what they do, but maybe not the best approach. What are you looking for?
Okay, the portrait outside is burned. I guess just any general, like, smaller pictures, maybe. I'll look at the top page of like each notebook. I'm sorry, like the top letter on like the stacks of paper.
So each one kind of, for the most part, is signed Professor Aranris Vomothaladi Coyle. And they all seem to be about the same subject. It's all about the different theories surrounding the people of the ancients. And for you, the basic knowledge that you would know, being a student of this school, is that there are various dig sites, mostly centered around islands controlled by elves, that have a different language and different artifacts than you see nowadays. So there's a lot of theories about who these ancient people were, but nobody can quite agree. And this text seems to speak on that subject at length.
I might as well take this with me.
So you pick up this bound stack of parchments. You also see that there is a map that seems to have marked out the different ancient dig sites. Go ahead and roll either perception or investigation, whichever is better.
Okay, investigation's higher.
Oh.
Another nat 20.
So you go ahead and you hold the book up high, and your eyes catch on this map. And you see that there is a site marked with a date that is almost exactly 30 years ago. It says Molly and Darvadar, Boltwick Ironside, group, and then it says Site of the Ancient, unmarked.
Boltwick Ironside, the guide.
Below that, you see a note that says, remind Darvadar to take his mage stone. Below that is another note that says, reminder to self, buy Molly and Darvadar their own mage stones. Make them different colors so they don't fight. Blue/pink.
Huh. What's a mage stone?
You would know a mage stone
Yeah.
is a stone that basically lights up. It's like a flashlight for mages.
Okay, so it's just like the light cantrip in a rock.
Basically, they're often used by archaeologists. They can either be set somewhere and illuminate a space, or they can be focused so that you can see in dark areas. If you're exploring ruins or things like that, they're essential.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
And recently, well, not recently, about 30 years ago, there was an innovation where they could color the mage stones different colors. It became very fashionable to have one. There was an explosion of like mage stone fashion for a while, but that has died out in the last 20 years.
Oh, dang.
All of
If there's-
these notes seem to be very old.
I mean, it'd have to be. This is before the mage stone fad.
This was right at the start of the mage stone fad.
Okay, this map seems pretty important. Where is this dig site generally located?
It seems to be in a place called the Golden Dawn Canyon.
Alright.
And Kayvar, roll an intelligence check.
16.
You have seen a blue and a pink mage stone. They appear to be used as the eye stones of Coil's automaton.
Wait. Oh, so what did he call his biggest horn again?
Albume.
Right.
I'm letting you know this because it was mentioned in the first episode where you were in, so you would know that this would be common information for you.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's information I didn't jot down in my notes because I didn't think it was important.
Everything is important!
Okay, so Coil. So 30 years ago, there was a Coil here, 2 coloured mage stones. The Coil I know, who is a weird robot man, has the same 2 colours in his bigger robot man. But how would he become a bigger robot man? Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask him, like, next time I see him.
Might be an interesting conversation to have.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll say with the nat 20, you also see a miniature portrait of Professor Oranris Vulma Thalati Coil. He appears to be a well-dressed elven man with, I believe, blonde hair.
Well, the sense of style, it seems to be about the same. Okay, I'm gonna pocket the portrait as well.
You do so. There doesn't seem to be anything else of value or note.
Yeah.
And a lot of the notes you can't read, they appear to be written in the language of the ancients.
Dang, and the only kind of weird languages I can speak are Dwarvish and Gnomish.
This was very much like a specialized class you could have taken, but chose not to. Normally, only those who are interested in the archaeological dig sites are going to take the class.
Yeah. I was more interested in the learning how to cast firebolt spells.
As many of your peers were.
I'm not sure what else to do here. I guess I'll leave.
As you exit, do you lock the door?
Oh yes, better lock the door.
Click. The lock echoes through the room, almost sadly, as if something important is being locked away. You pocket the iron key and make your way out of the school. Was there anything else that you wanted to do?
Calling on my Aunt Rooney while I'm here.
Yeah, you know where her office is.
Yeah.
You get to her office, you see she's in there. She seems to be poring over some of her notes, and as she glances up, she does a double take, and she says, Kayvar! Oh, my darling, what are you doing here?
A bit of a research trip. Thought I'd drop in. How's things?
Research? I didn't take you as one who was writing a paper. What are you researching, darling?
I was looking into dragons. I found that weird Professor Terrorial down in the basement.
Terrorial? Oh, Tetrial. Goggle, they
Yeah,
call him.
Yeah,
He's
Terrorial. I'm really sorry. I keep
nice.
getting his name wrong.
He's nice. We really need him to focus on the astrophysics studies, but he does insist upon his wild conspiracy theories about magical creatures. So, a bit of a mixed bag of nuts, that one.
Yeah, well, it has proved quite helpful. I needed information on dragons.
Oh no, you aren't joining his dragon cult, are you, darling? You have such a bright future.
No, they've just been coming up quite frequently in my travels.
Well, we did scry on that one. I do understand why you'd be interested in them, but I would stay away. They're giant beasts. I've heard they're bloodthirsty. You don't want to be eaten up by a dragon, do you?
No, not if I can help it.
Well, see you stay out of dragon territory then.
Oh? Where would dragon territory be then, so I know how to stay out of it?
Where we scried. You said you saw a dragon there.
Oh, right, yeah. I thought you meant, like, more generally.
Oh, I don't think dragons have territories anymore. They're very... no one has really seen them in recent days, darling.
Right, yeah, sorry.
I just didn't want you going on some careless adventure and then get yourself gobbled up by a dragon. What would I tell your father?
I don't know. Tell him I died very heroically.
I think that he would still be upset, darling.
Probably. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'm pretty sure, from what Goggle has told me, I don't think I'm in much real danger from a dragon.
Really? I would take what he says with a bit of caution, as he is a bit of a crazy old professor. But that's interesting he would say so. Why does he think you're safe from dragons? Does he think you're some sort of dragonborn? Is he accusing you of having the blood of a dragon?
No, nothing like that.
I'll have you know. Sorry, continue.
No, just that he thinks a dragon might just be kind of passively interested in a non-eating me capacity.
What else would a dragon want you for?
I don't know, friendship?
Adorable. There was a whole year where he thought he was a dragon for a while. That was a rough one. It's the reason why we don't put his classes on the books.
Yeah, it probably would have been hard if he was teaching them in Draconic.
Yes, and using the fireball cantrip to have dragon breath. It was a very interesting, terrible time. But he is unmatched in the study of alternate dimensions and the realms, so we can't exactly get rid of him.
Yeah, that's the problem with tenured professors. Speaking of, I also saw, like, an office of someone called Professor Coyle down there.
She furrows her brow. Ah, yes, the archaeologist.
Yeah.
He quit 30 years or so ago.
Yeah, no, I think I might have, like, ran into him a little bit.
Well, can you tell him that he still owes me 5 gold for that parchment? Also, and he needs to return my book on the ancient languages.
Yeah, I will let him know.
Where did you see that? Where did you see him? I heard that he was last seen in Ironside, but I can't say for sure. There's a lot of rumors, and you know, sometimes professors just leave.
And weirdly enough, he's been hanging out with the Ballista.
That mercenary guild that you just quit your really nice, high-paying job to go join?
Yes, that's the one.
The thing that you left the very respectable position that we helped you get. That's I'm Ballista.
Yes, the very same one. She is there too, it seems.
I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse. You seem
At
to
least the
have
world
fallen
feels
in.
small.
You seem to have fallen in with misfits. What was wrong with just being elven nobility?
It was very stifling.
Yes, but
Like
it was safe.
but I crave adventure. I crave the sea.
Just like your mother.
Hmm.
Well, I can't stop you. I've tried.
Yeah, you've definitely tried.
But you at least know I'm here to support you. In whatever misfit club you join. Just stay alive, darling.
I always try to.
If you don't stay alive, we're only stuck with your brother. And I've
Yeah,
graded his papers.
yeah. I definitely need to stay alive to help him out.
I'm hoping that he settles down. He's gotten into a bit of a temper recently.
Oh,
Yes,
do
it
do
seems
tell.
he too craves adventure. Only half siblings, yet you two seem to be following the same groove in life.
Maybe it's more from Dad's side.
Your father, my brother, is the most boring person I have ever met. And I can't really say I'm much more interesting. Although I
Hmm.
did have my college days.
You don't have to tell me about those.
Let's just say I'm the reason fire wine isn't allowed on campus.
So you're why we had to go to the other island to go drinking.
Yes, I can't really say I'm sorry either. It was quite worth it. I will have to tell you sometime. Maybe when you're older.
How older do you have to be?
Old enough I don't see you as the young child that I used to change diapers for.
Yeah.
Well, was that all you stopped in to tell to tell me how you're hanging out with ne'er-do-wells?
Yeah, basically, I just came in for that.
Well, I haven't seen Coil. Professor Goggle is weird. Cool Petal is already trying to tattle on you, even though you haven't done anything wrong.
That was fast.
I ran into her in the hall. I tried not to. She likes to loom around corners.
Yeah, I've noticed. Lacey waits for a student to just turn the corner.
Maybe she does. I have heard
Mm.
that she has a scrying mirror in her office.
Just kind of look around. Casey's looking in on this conversation.
Your Aunt Rooney looks around too. She's a completely pleasant person, Cool Petal.
Yes,
Wonderful to talk to.
there's absolutely no flaws.
Well, as much as I enjoyed catching up with you, darling, I do have to get back to work.
I guess I won't keep you.
Stay safe, you hear? And she gets up and she brings you into a hug and she kisses your cheek and she says, "You have to stay alive. Don't leave me here with the rest of the family.
I won't. I promise I won't.
If you break your promise, I am dumping fire wine all over your grave."
That's fine. If I break that promise, I'll need a lot to drink.
All right, move along, kitten.
Okay.
And
I just leave.
you do. As you exit the campus, there's a sense of longing almost, of leaving something behind. The courtyard has cleared out and it's empty. The wind blows and you hear the rustling of trees and the giggling of apples. And a portal opens before you and you see Darcy waiting. Find what you're looking for?
Yes, quite interesting stuff, Darcy.
Great.
Do you know there used to be more colours of dragons?
More colors of dragons?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Well, like all different sorts of colours, like blue, white. I think I saw a green one.
Ugh, you're starting to sound like Kyla. Don't mention this around her or she will not stop talking about it for the next 3 hours. Her and her wild dragon theories.
All right.
She
Where's Kyla?
You don't see Kyla in her regular area, but you do know that she tends to gravitate towards the Beans and Bruises cafe. And as you look over, you see that she is concentrating on trying to make snickerdoodle cookies.
I'll wait until later, otherwise these cookies are going to turn out dragon-shaped.
And if you don't wait till later, they're going to end up on the floor. We already lost an entire plate of cannolis.
Oh no, not the cannolis.
I know. We're all disappointed and in mourning.
Ah, I can tell. You don't seem to use your chip herself.
I do adore an evening cannoli. What can I say? She ushers you in, and we'll go ahead and end our one-shot there.
Alright.
This has been Tales of the Iron Ballista. A big thanks to my cast who make these episodes possible. If you'd like to catch us live on Twitch, please join the Discord for the schedules. They vary from week to week because the players are scattered across the globe. Link is in the description. Please follow me on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/theamazingdina to get live alerts. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel to keep up to date with the posted episodes. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye!